Welcome back to Fantastic Feast. I'm your host, Thuy Phan. Right now we have everything set up to make madeleines, and if you've never had them, you should try them because they are a delectable little treat, and it's like a little cake that you put in either a seashell, or this is the more traditional shape of the madeleine, and they're just scrumptious little tea cakes, I would say, and they go really well with tea and coffee, but they're also really easy to make. So something I want to show you. I made it once and I loved it, and I gave it away as gifts, and I love being able to do things that are easy, and then you give them to people and people are impressed, and then you're like, okay, that's something that's going to go on my roster. So this is definitely one of them, and it's really simple. You can modify some of the ingredients so that you can have different flavors, like green tea. You can add different things to make it uniquely yours, but we'll get started on the very basic madeleine, and it takes some flour, sugar, some brown sugar, a little bit of honey, some lemon zest, eggs, butter, and that's your basic ingredient. What you will need to do is chill the dough overnight, or at least 3 hours, and then you can bake them, and then that's all there is to it. You don't need any fancy equipment, just some mixing bowls and a whisk, and you're ready to go. So without further ado, let's get started. What you will need first is you will need 3/4 cup of flour. You need 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and then you need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then you want to do a light whisk on that. And then next, what we will do is we'll turn on the heat and melt butter. You're going to need 6 tablespoons of butter. You want to melt it and let it cool for a little bit, so that's what we'll do now. It's pretty fast, but it'll just take a couple minutes. So now you have your melted butter. Okay, so what we'll do now is you'll need 2 eggs, and you do this in a separate bowl. 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. You also need a tablespoon of honey. I actually collect honey everywhere I go, actually, because honey tastes different depending on the flowers that the bees use to pollinate. So that's my little thing. Everywhere that I've traveled to, I've tried to buy honey there because it tastes different, and honey never goes bad, so I have a collection of honey, and it comes in handy. This one is a blackberry one from Seattle that I got a long time ago, and I'll try it for this one. Now we will need 2 tablespoons of lemon zest, and this is a microplane zester, and it's the best thing ever. It zests limes, lemons, and works wonders. And then you just whisk this together and make sure it's smooth, and then you'll incorporate the butter and the flour together. Now you will add your wet ingredients to your dry ingredients, but you don't want to overmix it. You want to do it just enough so they're incorporated, and then you add the butter to it as well. Once you've added your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients, this is when you add the butter, and then that's all there is to it. Now that's all incorporated, you want to put it into a, I put it in a Ziploc bag so then you can just snip it off, and then you can pipe it after you've refrigerated it, because the dough will become a little bit thicker. It's not a runny dough. So you need to refrigerate it at least 3 hours, or overnight preferably, and then you can start getting ready to bake it. So let me put it in a Ziploc bag now. You can also use a pastry bag. That's obviously the more professional way to do it, but I find Ziploc bags make life a lot easier. And I can just throw it away, I don't have to wash it afterwards. Okay, and you have your dough, and let's put it in the fridge for 3 hours and overnight, and then we'll get baking. So this is our madeleine mold. You can either butter it or use a non-cooking spray, and then you want to dust it with flour so then it doesn't stick. I like coconut oil just because I like the way it smells. It's super fragrant, and it's easier for me than using the butter. But you can use the butter the old-fashioned way. You want to lightly flour so then this gives an extra protection so then it doesn't stick. So now that you've dusted your pan with flour, what you want to do next is start piping the dough. And since you did this in the resealable bag, you just snip it. Snip it, and this becomes kind of your piping bag. And what you want to do now is you'll start piping it into the mold. And then you tap it. Tap it, shake it, just get it in the mold. Okay, and then you put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 8 minutes until it's slightly browned, and a peak should form actually on the top of it. So that's all there is to it, and let's put this in the oven. Ooh, smells really good. Okay. And this is your madeleines. You know you've done it right when they've kind of puffed up like that in the middle. Now what you want to do is take them out so they can cool. Loosen them up. Well, you know you've done it right when they puff up in the middle like that. This is what madeleines traditionally look like. One side will look like a shell and the other side will be like a little crowny top, like a little boat. And you just let them cool and dust them with the powdered sugar. And they are ready to be consumed and devoured. A nice cup of tea or coffee. Or you can package them up and give them as gifts. Perfect. Yeah, okay, so now, now that they've cooled down, we will dust them with powdered sugar, and then we'll plate them, and then they are ready to be eaten. Okay, I think once you see them with powdered sugar, then it looks really familiar to you. And, okay, you want to have a sifter or a sieve so it's not too thick. And just tap, tap, tap. Oops. And I'll save one for myself to eat. Okay. A madeleine, it only took about 10 minutes to bake, even less than that, and to make it was really simple, so I'm a big fan of simple. Let's try it out. It's perfect. Crispy on the outside, it's slightly sweet. You taste the honey and the lemon zest. It's a really delicate, nice little cake. And really nice afternoon dessert. That was pretty simple. I love madeleines. In fact, my niece is named Madeline. Not after the dessert, but you know, it's sweet just like she is. And so that's all there is to it. And that's it for us here on Phantastic Feast. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next time here on Phantastic Feast.